Hey guys, it's Gary, aka Tuxedo Jericho, here for DMGG Productions with yet another episode of Real Talk. And earlier, I wouldn't have had an idea for an episode of Real Talk until I run across a story that somebody linked to on Facebook from a Fox News affiliate, Fox6now.com. I can't tell where it's from. I don't know where this station's at, but they had a story posted from a station called WPTV that is out of Port St Lucie, Florida. And the title of it goes, and quote, "I didn't think I was doing anything wrong," unquote. Mom arrested for allowing 7-year-old son to go to park alone. Yeah, I thought, well, maybe she was a drug-addled person who, was unfit to be a mother. But then I started reading the story, and right now I'm going to read the story. A mom faces charges of child neglect after she allowed her son to go to the park alone. She says he's old enough, but Port St Lucie police disagree. Now she's fighting back. Quote, "I'm totally dumbfounded by the whole situation," unquote, says Nicole Gainey. It began last Saturday afternoon when Gainey gave her son Dominic permission to walk from their house to Sportsman Park. Quote, "Honestly, I didn't think I was doing anything wrong," unquote, says Gainey. Quote, "I was letting him go play," unquote. It's a half mile from their Port St Lucie home. Dominic says it only takes him about 10 to 15 minutes to get there. During the walk, the 7-year-old passes a public school. Someone there asked him who his mom was. Quote, "They asked me a couple of questions and I got scared and run off to the park and they called the cops," unquote, says Dominic Gurissi. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. Dominic was playing at the park when the police pulled up. They said, quote, they said, "Where does your mom live?" unquote, says Dominic. Police took him home. That's when his mom was arrested and charged with child neglect. Gainey says she was shocked. Quote, "My own bondsman said my parents would have been in jail every day," unquote, says Gainey, who paid nearly $4,000 to bond out. The officer wrote in the report that Dominic was unsupervised at the park and that, quote, "numerous sex offenders reside in the vicinity," unquote. Quote, he just basically kept going over that there's pedophiles and this and that, and basically that the park wasn't safe and he shouldn't be there alone, unquote, says Gainey. She believes Dominic is mature enough to go to the park alone. Gainey adds her son always has a cell phone, which she calls to check on him. Quote, "that I'm there and safe," unquote, says Dominic. Gainey plans to fight the felony charges, but she won't let Dominic go to the park. But after this, she won't let Dominic go to the park alone. She's afraid she'll be arrested again. The St. Lucie County State's Attorney's Office said that there is no law that specifies how old a child has to be before he or she can go somewhere unsupervised. It's done on a case-by-case basis. That's the story. Okay. So now we have our government and our law enforcement officers who are basically telling people, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're not old enough to go to do this." He went to the park. He apparently had been doing it a lot, knew the route, and was smart enough when somebody started asking him questions that he got off, or that he decided to run off and go right to the park. I'm sorry, that really shows that the kid is smart enough to go, "I don't know this person, stranger danger," and bolt. There's there might be numerous sex offenders that reside in the vicinity. Well, guess what? So, Port St Lucie, Florida. Then you put a security guard at the damn park to watch over and make sure that nothing happens. You have rotating guards on staff. Have two. That way the park is never alone. Or you do something, and this is stupid. This is basically the government telling people how to live their goddamn lives. Sorry, pardon my French, but this really pisses me off. This is what this country is becoming. We're becoming we're becoming a nanny state, and so help me, I wanted to say the F word so bad. Right there. Because this is something that really bothers me. It's like, the kid, does this a lot. He, and takes a route that puts him right by a public school. And because somebody saw him walking alone, called the cops. And then from that, his mother gets arrested for child neglect. I'm sorry, does she gives him a cell phone and lets him go out and play. I'm sorry, if this was the 70s, how many parents, if this has happened, these type of laws, and that happened in the 70s, how many, and 80s, how many of our parents would have been in jail every day because, they allowed us to go out and walk around? I remember whenever I visited my grandmother and my great aunt in Spruce Pine, North Carolina. After I was about 8 years old, if I had some money, I'd tell them, hey, I'm going to go down to Rose's, and I had to walk from their house, which was on I forgot the name of the road near a church. There's a elementary school on there now. Carter's Ridge Road. There we go. I walked from their house on Carter's Ridge Road down through all the way down through there and turned up route. I think it's Route 226, and I'd walk right down to Rose's. When I got there, this is well before cell phones. I would put the money in the thing, call their house, and go, "Hey, I'm at Rose's. I'll call you whenever I'm leaving." I'd go there and shop, get what I want, get the stuff. Call back, "Hey, I'm heading back," and walk back. It'd probably take me 10, 15 minutes just to walk that far. And it was mainly because it was hills, curves, and all that I was having to negotiate. Luckily for me, on the way there, I had to pass two uncles' houses that were there before I had to walk up the hill that led up to my grandmother's house. I was never in danger at that point, or at least I never thought I was. Sure, somebody could have tried to pick me up, well, then I would have felt sorry for them. Because I was a pain in the ass back then. Not that anything's any different. But, I'm sorry, this Dominic kid seems to know his stuff. He knows about stranger danger and knows to leave situations like that. But because, oh Lord, this kid may be in danger. I mean, there's no laws that specify how old a child has to be before he can go somewhere unsupervised. How many times have kids that lived in a city go, "Oh, hey, I'm here home alone because my parents are working. Oh, hey, I'm going to go down to the movie theater, in the summer." They go down to the movie theater, buy a ticket, and go watch a movie. Or go and walk over to a friend's house. And I read a comment somewhere from somebody in Memphis that said, whenever they were a kid, that the entire city of Memphis was their playground. Just they had to be home by dinner time. I can understand, wanting to protect kids and make sure that that there's no child molesters out there. But this is taking a little too far. I mean, if the kid had been abducted, then this woman would have been all torn up because, she didn't go there with now. What was her name? Nicole Gainey will not allow her son to go to the park alone because she's afraid she'll be arrested again. Not fearing for the child's, safety, but because she might get arrested because she let her son do something alone. I'm sorry, if our law enforcement officers, Leos, are putting the fear of God into people because they're letting their kids do something by themselves, then dear God, this country is failing. You know what? Here's the thing. I will never visit St. Lucie, Florida. I don't even know where it is. I'm going to look it up. Port St. There we go. Now I've gotten in there. Come on, zoom out, Google Maps.
Augustine gave me a special detail this
Okay, yeah, it's way down in southern Florida. Much further than Orlando St. Cloud. It's actually just a little bit north of West Palm Beach. Well, here's the thing. I'll never go there. Just because I would not trust the cops to respect my rights as a U.S. citizen. This is crazy whenever the cops can, decide, oh, hey, you're in violation of an unwritten law. I'm sorry, but if that's a state that that our government's going to allow this to happen at, then we failed at raising society. We failed as a society. And that you can't tell me that child molesters didn't exist in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s. Because if you do, I will flat out say you are a dipshit. You are a freaking moron that you should do the world a favor and never procreate. Because you're just going to be raising another generation of morons. But yeah, this is crazy. This leaves me dumbfounded that I've known times whenever my mom, where I grew up, there is no park near me. I only had like one or two friends that lived close, so I could walk down to one of their houses and do something. But to go anywhere, I had to be driven, and that's what it is in parts of rural small town America, unless you actually live inside the town. I lived in a community outside of the Morristown, Tennessee area, where it was, to get anywhere, it was at least 10 miles to do that, and it would have taken 30 minutes walking just to get there. And you're with two and 4 lanes of traffic going anywhere, it doesn't happen. But in areas like this where that can happen, this is crazy. And I don't know. It's just like we're failing as a society whenever parents can get arrested for something that's not actually child neglect. I mean, if the child had been beaten by this woman, left to starve, or something like that, yes, I could agree with child neglect. But for allowing him to walk to a damn park is not child neglect. And the officers of Port St Lucie, Florida, should be fucking ashamed of themselves. They should have to go there and let people kick them in the ass or be fired because they're violating our rights as U.S. citizens. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for saying the F word. I'm sorry for cursing. But this is stupid. This is ridiculous of what freedoms that our law enforcement has to step over the freedoms of individual citizens. If the mother had actually done something that truly was child neglect, then fine. But for allowing the kid to go to the park, she didn't put him in danger herself. She didn't neglect the child. The child wasn't abused. He seemed to be well fed, and he was urged to go outside and do something. Sit at home, watch TV, or play video games, and had the wherewithal to walk there, to actually get up and not ask to be driven, but to go out. And he even had told her, "Mom, I'm going to the park," and she knew the route that he took, and had his cell phone so he could call, or she could call and go, "Hey, I just got here. Yeah, it's inside. I'll be there in about 2 minutes." I'm sorry, but some stuff like this that happens around the country just really boils my blood. And don't ever get me started on gun control, because I know that the people that think that having more strict gun control laws will stop atrocities like the Sandy Hook Elementary tragedy from happening are moronic, to say the least. And I'll just say this about gun control: you can limit gun controls to the citizens of the U.S., to the law-abiding citizens, but don't think for a moment that a criminal will do that. They have ways of getting stuff. There's a thing called the black market that, if you know where to look and who to ask for, you can get just about anything. And if you think that limiting who can buy a handgun is going to fix a lot of these problems with gun-related criminal activity, then I'm sorry, but you're really thinking too high of society and this government. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go. Peace out. God bless.